Hey y'all, it's Megan and Andy. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend some time with us today. Andy's gonna be doing some mechanicking and I got a little bit to do in the kitchen today, so.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go tackle Megan's Toyota. It's kind of raining this morning. Y'all, this was supposed to be our big chance of rain. Like, this is the one we had such high hopes for. And currently we've had about a tenth of rain and every bit of it's went south of us. And it's not really looking like we're going to get much more than what we've got already, which I'm thankful for what's fell. It's just not what we had hoped for.
Yeah, and there's still a slight chance of a thunderstorm this evening, so maybe.
Yeah, fingers crossed a thunderstorm pops up and we get a good something soaking out of it.
Yeah.
I guess me and Jacob's going to go on down to Daddy's shop. We're going to go get started on this little Yoda and see what we can find out. I'll probably be calling you here after a while once I get it apart, and you'll have to come get me so we can run to the auto parts store.
Okay. All right.
Before we go, Jacob's got to check on his chickens. We moved them out the other day. I think we're finally done with all the cold temperatures at night. And he moved them out into one of these chicken tractors we got from Chuck and Sandra.
Probably should shut the door.
You think they're gonna come out? They look a whole lot happier in there, don't they, than they did in that little brooder?
Yeah.
Well, you get that filled up and then we'll head on up there and work on that truck. We'll go ahead and fire this thing up, let it run for a minute before we take off in it. I hope it cranks. It's been a couple days since we drove it. We've been running it around here, from here to the neighbors, from here to Mom and Daddy's, and so far it's done fine, but we do got one problem we got to fix, and that's what we're going to work on today. Just because I'm a tightwad, I poured some of that old gas that I drained back out of in it and mixed it with the newer gas I had put in it. And I can really tell a difference in how it runs. So I need to put some more new gas back in that tank and dilute it down. But still, fires up pretty good though. Alright, set it up on the hood. Go ahead and jack that thing up, Jake. Put it like right there. Bring it on under here. Keep coming. Right there. Tighten it up.
Hold No.
There you go. Come on. Keep on. Jack it on up. Well, it spins kind of free now.
You broke it.
One thing's for sure, if we do get this thing in good running shape, it's gonna have some tires. Them are dry rotted like crazy. Look at the cracks in them.
Oh, wow.
That's like riding on a time bomb. Go over and unlock the hub on that other side. Huh. So I've noticed that by unlocking the hubs, it don't actually unlock the hubs. I guess they're stuck, locked in. They probably need to be used. Honestly, I think her daddy kept the hubs locked in all the time. That also makes me wonder now, though, if the squeaking is something in this drive line here instead of the brake. Because that caliper's not stuck. It's loosened up, but it should be looser now. I should be able to spin that looser. Go in there and mash the brakes, Jacob. You got them mashed.
Now I got them mashed.
Okay, let go of them.
I did.
Yeah, see, it was stuck there for just a minute before it started. Mash them again. Hold them down kind of like tight. And now let off of them. Huh. They're new.
Are you sure it's that side?
Yeah, this side's the one that's been squeaking and acting like it was stuck. That's interesting. Might not be what I thought it was. Just for some comparison's sake, I jacked this side up and you can see how freely that wheel spins. And that axle's not turning either. So the hub on this side is actually unlocking. So
That makes sense, because that one was harder to turn than that one looked.
I wonder if that's got something to do with why that side over there is harder to turn, or if it's actually the brake. We might need to tear that hub apart just to see, and see if we can get it to unlock. But yeah, that side spins a whole lot freer than the other side does. Alright, we can let that back down. So, what's happening is when you're driving this thing down the road, or at any speed, like faster than just idle, you hear a squeaking somewhere up in here, like a squeaking, rubbing sound. And I've been assuming this whole time that it's the brake dragging, and it still may be, because that's hard to turn. It shouldn't be like that. But I have discovered that axle shaft right there is turning too, with this hub unlocked. Meaning that something in that hub, kind of like my red truck was, is not disengaging like it's supposed to, and so it has me wondering if it's not this squeaking, it's something on up in this drive line here. So the only thing I know to do is I'm going to put Jacob back in the truck and I'm going to crack a brake line. And that right there will eliminate whether this is the brake line collapsed or anything. This will eliminate that real quick. I'm going to crack that brake line after he's mashed on the brakes. If that relieves pressure off that caliper, well then I know right away that it's this rubber brake line right here. Because I mean honestly, that feels pretty soft. That feels like it might have some deterioration on it or inside of it. So it could very well be a brake line not letting all the pressure relief back out of this caliper. And for people that don't know, this is your rotor, this is your caliper, and your brake pads are right there. And what happens is this caliper squeezes that stuff tight, squeezes those brake pads tight against that rotor, and that's how your brakes work. However, when you let off the pedal, that's supposed to spin free. And hearing the drag, I'm about positive it's hard to spin because of something here.
It might be the brakes and the hub.
Well, the hub may be what's squeaking and the brakes are just dragging. I mean, it could be two different problems here. But when something's been sitting as long as this thing has, these are the types of issues you run into. And so, we'll see. Jacob, I'm going to go find me a wrench to fit the bleed screw and one to fit that brake line right there, and I'll crack them both and see if anything changes. If it don't, I'm going to go ahead and pull this caliper off. And we may just bite the bullet, go buy a caliper and put it on it and see what happens.
All right.
Because I'm, at the moment right now, like I'm not scared to go throwing parts at this thing because the truck ain't going nowhere and I want it fixed. So if we have to go buy some parts and throw at it and just see what happens, we will. Let's see, is this? Yeah, there's a 10. All right, go in there and squeeze them brake pedals. Just hold it down with all your force and then let off of it.
All right.
You let off?
I just did.
Okay. All right. Huh. That actually relieves some pressure on it for sure. It spins a lot easier.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I just cracked the bleed screw to see what would happen. Mash down on them. Now hold them down until I tell you to let up.
All right. Yeah, it definitely feels nice pressure right now.
All right, now you can let up. Mash them. Let up. Yeah, so now it's dragging again. Let's do it like this. Let's crack this line. Okay, that didn't do anything. So it's in the caliper, I believe. When I cracked that when I cracked that brake line, nothing changed. So that means it didn't relieve no pressure off of it. So the brake line's probably not collapsed. So it's probably that caliper. We need to take that caliper off and kind of give it a quick look over, and I think we'll go see if we can find one. See how that gives me some extra leverage there?
Is it better than using a pipe?
Well, either one's about the same. man, that thing's definitely stuck.
If it didn't just pop off.
That should not be that hard to kick off there.
Make sure you have all the bolts off.
No. Golly, that ain't gonna happen either. So after some negotiations with the impact gun, I finally got the bolts out. So that whole piece right there is your caliper. And your brake pads are there. Brake pads look good. Looks like the way this one works, you have to take these pins out. Those hold your brake pads in. So I'll get all that out. I'll get that apart, and we'll run to the auto parts store and see what we can come up with. And I also have a brake line that is dripping everywhere. I don't know how to stop that either. I don't have anything I can plug the hole with. I wrapped a paper towel around it. A lot of good that done me. It just saturated the paper towel and it's dripping out of it now. So I'm just gonna let it drip into that cup. But I do believe though that I need to fix that hub from unlocking, because there's still some resistance on that without the brake caliper on it. However, it's much freer now. There's still some resistance. So
I think the brake was part of the problem.
I think the brake was part of the problem, but we got to get that hub to unlock, because that should still spin quite a bit freer than what it's spinning right now.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna start off just scraping some cream off my milk for us to make some butter here after a while. When I'm making butter, I like to let my heavy cream get to room temperature. Heck, there's sometimes I'll let it set out even 2 or 3 days. Let it culture a little bit and make butter after that. If you're using raw milk, now that's the big difference here. Raw milk you can do that with. Store cream, no. But if you're using raw cream, if you want to let it culture a little bit, that makes really great butter too. But today, I'm not going to do that. We're just going to scrape the cream. I'll set it to the side and we'll make some butter here after a while. So, actually, before we get started, I want to show y'all, y'all saw in the last video, I was making strawberry jam, just like we're going to do again today. That 'tis the time of year, just the way it is. But, so I want to show you. Now, I've told you this is thinner, making it without the Sure Gel, and I'm sure you can see that in the video. I hope that it is thinner. Once it gets cold in the refrigerator, it thickens up a little bit more, but it still has an awesome texture to spoon onto biscuits or toast. It's not like juice, like it's not like super runny. It's just a little thinner jam, but that strawberry flavor that you get doing it that way totally makes up for it. And I try to always, look at that cream. I try to always get while the getting's good. With anything that's coming in the garden, with getting all this excess milk right now, seasonal, making strawberry jam while I have plenty of strawberries. It gets a little monotonous sometimes. Like, I've made a lot of butter, but the reason being is I freeze it. And my goal was always to see how much butter I can make. We'll see how long it lasts me. See if it can last me till next year when I start making butter. So I have several gallon-sized freezer bags full of cakes of butter. If you've been around since our hog processing, you know I make lard till I'm blue in the face. But a year's worth, it's a lot. That's a whole lot. But raw milk, the cream, if you don't know, the cream rises to the top with cow milk. And so a simple ladle does the trick just fine. got a little bit of leftover strawberry jelly from last year. So what I'll do with that is I'll make like some jam bars. There's also jam cakes, stuff like that. That's what I like to do if I have any leftover. It's not much left. They have really put a hurting on it, but I do have a little bit left from last year, which we had a bumper crop of strawberries. When I'm not making jam with the strawberries, I like to cut them up, halve them, and freeze them on a cookie sheet. Somebody told me to do that here a couple years ago. Somebody actually here on the channel. And that's the best thing since sliced bread. No worrying about vacuum sealing it or anything. I just put them in a freezer bag and go on about my day. But I freeze them for like a few hours on a cookie sheet. Once they're hard, then I put them on a bag. And so now this is considered skimmed milk. In my personal opinion, it ain't nothing like the skimmed milk at the store. I can't even drink that stuff. But, and there is still always a little bit of cream left. So it's totally drinkable. I can cook with it. We drink it. I can make yogurt with it. Most of the time I make yogurt with the skimmed milk. You can make some cheeses. You're not going to get the yield with the skim milk like you would if it had more fat in it. But I've made some cheeses with the skim milk. And the animals, they enjoy the skim milk too, especially the pigs. So we'll have, I'll probably, at least a gallon of this will probably go to the pigs today. As you can tell, you can see the date on it. It's several days old now anyway. And this morning, milking, I got a gallon again. So, kind of replace it as I go. There's only so much room in a refrigerator. There's only so much room in my kitchen. There's no room for an extra refrigerator in here. I do have one out in the building, but... Alright, so, out of that milk, it was about 4 gallons of milk. I ended up getting 2 quarts of heavy cream off that. Now, I will tell you, that ain't much for a Jersey. If I was not calf sharing, I would probably get, I don't know if I would get double the cream, but it would be more significant than what I'm getting now. So, cows are amazing creatures. They hang on to their most nutritious and fatty milk for their calves. And so when you're calf sharing, then a lot of times you won't get the cream that you would get after the calf is weaned. So, but this is what I got, like I said, off about 4 gallons of milk. And I made this butter yesterday. I need to put it up, and I'm going to show y'all. I mean, it's super simple how I freeze my butter. So, how I preserve my butter is I just take some parchment paper, and I found this parchment paper on the Amazon, of course. I liked it because it's already cut in sheets, and I just take it, and I'm going to just wrap my butter up in it. I mean, it's literally nothing fancy, y'all. Fold that over. I mean, I could put a piece of tape on it if I wanted it to look better, but it don't matter to me what it looks like when I go to pull it out. So there it is. I do it just like that. I'll write the date on it so I know what butter to use first, what's the oldest, and I'll set it in the freezer till tomorrow. Once it freezes completely tomorrow, I put it in a freezer bag I use gallon size freezer bags. And it's as simple as that. I've done it this way for 3 or 4 years now, ever since I've had a milk cow, and not had any trouble with my butter doing it this way. So I'm going to get this in the freezer. Andy just called and said that they need to go to the auto parts store. So me and Maggie are going to run down there and pick them up and let them go do that.
So I was waiting on Megan to come pick us up, and went ahead and took the cap off of that hub, and I already see what's wrong with it. That gear is supposed to slide out to unlock that hub. That's how it locks in, is this gear slides out. Well, how it unlocks is this gear slides out, and then that allows the axle to free and spin freely on the hub. Then that gear slides in, and that locks the axle down in there into the hub here. And this unit here is what pushes it in. When you turn that to lock, it pushes in this piece right there, and that's supposed to push that in. So I'm gonna have to take that apart and see if I can't get something freed up there. I'm not quite sure why it's not coming out, but I just wanted to show you all that, because these days not many vehicle manufacturers at all use lockout hubs anymore. However, that's a very, very simple, efficient way of engaging your front axles. Even though it's broke, it can still be fixed. You know, unlike something electronic locking in four-wheel drive or an actuator, or which is what most vehicles have these days. Like I say, even though something's broke with it, it still works. It's just not working properly. But I don't think it's going to take me much to figure out why that gear's not coming out. I just got to take it apart. I just thought while I was waiting on her to come pick me up to go to the auto parts store, I would go ahead and dig into that and see what it looked like. Should be a simple fix though. I don't know if it's just stuck from being locked in over so many years, or there's like a burr of metal in there not allowing that gear to slide in and out for you. But we'll find that out. And worst case scenario, if for some reason there's something in there that's just really messed up, not allowing it to slide in and out, 6 bolts. Can buy a new set of hubs for it, put them on there, and the problem is fixed. But we won't go that route until I know I can't fix this one. Watch this, y'all. I just slid that gear out. I don't know why it didn't push out. I think it's supposed to have a spring back in there that pushes that back out. I wonder if it ain't broke. But look how free that spins now. So chances are, Jacob's done packed it up like we're getting ready to ship it. But my caliper's in there. Chances are that caliper would probably get us by. But like I did mention, I did notice that it still drug some. It was dragging more than it should, so we're going to go ahead and replace it anyway since it is off. But I about bet you that most of our problem with the dragging was here. Or the squeaking noise anyways. I'll fix this problem here, and then I'll just continue on and see what comes next.
So me and Maggie went on a little walk around. We walked over to the neighbors to check on the cows over there. Not anticipating more rain. Luckily it's not a thunderstorm, but, well, I don't know if you can see it, but
Look how wet my stick's getting. That's how rain it is.
we're thankful for the rain and to get caught in the rain, and thankful for this here barn, ain't we?
Yeah. And Dad's right beside three.
And I got a good view. The cows are right here.
I kind of feel it sounds like it's getting harder.
I think so too.
I mean, I think it is because look how wet my stick is.
I see. So picking strawberries is probably off the list for right now, but I'm still gonna head to the house and we're gonna go make some strawberry jam. I want to show y'all, in case you don't have a whole gallon of strawberries from your plants, I want to show y'all how you can make it with just a few, because I've got a few in my refrigerator. It's been sitting a couple days and need to do something with them. I love the sound of rain on a tin roof.
I know, I do too.
Well, it just don't get much better than this. Rain on a tin roof. Watching my cows under a nice dry barn shelter. It's all right, ain't it, sis? All right, so since we luckily got rained out of picking strawberries, at least for now, y'all just look over me. My hair's probably a lot It'll be alright. So, these I picked a couple days ago. We picked over a gallon, but we've been eating it. I made a little strawberry ice cream. So both of these bags were actually pretty full. With what I've got left, we're going to make some more jam like you saw me do the other day. Except I won't have as much, I don't think, this time. So I thought it'd be fun still to share this, even though I don't have a ton. Just in case you have a few strawberry plants, you go out there and pick you maybe this many. And you can still make you some delicious homemade jam if you want to. I'm going to cut these up and get them in my food processor. Strawberry jam was the very first thing I ever made, and I've always made it with sugar gel, and if you want to make it with sugar gel, there ain't a thing in this world wrong with it. Especially if you're brand new to canning, that's an excellent way to kind of get your feet wet. So I'm just going to go through and quickly get all my strawberries topped and in my food processor here. And I'll show you what we're going to do next.
Alright, so a little bit of time has passed at this point. We went and ate lunch, went to the auto parts store, got what we needed. A good thing, the brake caliper was quite a bit less than I expected it to be. So we already have the new brake caliper on there. I still got, let's see, these little clips right here come out from right in here. We got a new one that come with it. I'm not familiar with the way these go. I ain't never had a truck that had brakes that had those clips in it like that. So I'm going to pull the wheel off the other side and just see how that goes all on there. But I'm going to go ahead and get Jacob to get in there and pump the brakes. And we'll get this thing bled. Because I think I can get to all that where them clips go without taking it back apart. And I've also discovered the little gear for the hub. I think it's supposed to be attached to that somehow or another, and it's not. I believe when you unlock it, it's supposed to pull that gear out, and it's not doing that. So also when I take apart the other side, I'm going to take apart the other hub and see how it's all put together, and hopefully can determine what's up with that. I may end up having to buy a new hub for it. I really don't know, but we'll find that out here shortly. Let's get these things bled though. All right, little man, get in there and pump the brakes up. Wait a minute, I better check the fluid first since we lost so much. All right, go ahead and pump them up.
All right. What do you want me to do?
Pump the brakes up and then hold it down. And don't let up until I tell you to. All right, hold them down. You got it?
Yep.
All right, do it again. Hold it down. Hold it down. What are you talking about?
You know, remember on the red truck? Or I can't remember what it was. That's what it feels like.
I believe we got it. Pump it back up. Do they feel all right?
I mean,
Oh, we definitely got all the air out of that spot. I mean, out of that. Okay, I'm going to pull the other side apart and check it out. You can let up.
it doesn't go to the floor. But it's like,
You can let up, or you have let up, ain't you?
yeah.
Thanks to the other side, I figured out how to get those clips in. Yep, look at there.
Yep. Look how greasy that one is.
Oh, that other one's just as greasy.
Oh.
I've done wiped it off. That's why it don't look greasy. But yet, I thought that was supposed to be attached to this outside piece.
So how does it work?
See when you, let's see if it'll work. When you lock it in, this one's hard to turn. See how it pushes that gear up?
Yeah.
That pushes that gear into there. And when you unlock it,
It brings it back down.
yep, we gotta line it all back up right to get it to lock back. Well, at least we know now why the other side don't unlock.
Yep.
So with all those, look like we ended up with 4.5, 5 cups of whole berries. So now we're gonna cut this on our chop, and we're gonna chop them down like I showed you the other day, and puree a little bit until I have the size chunks of strawberries that I want.
This one.
So looking at my measurer here, this is what I usually go by. I don't pour it into another measuring cup or anything. Looks like we've got pretty much 3 cups of juice / strawberries in here. Pour that in my pot. So because we got 3 cups of juice, we need 3/4 cups of sugar. Or if my math is right, what is that? 2 cups and 1/4? Something like that. I just do them in 3/4 increments, so I'll make sure I've got it right. So 1, 2, and 3. We'll crank that heat up to medium high for right now. Get that all stirred in there, just combined. And I'll probably throw me just a tad bit of butter in there to keep it from foaming quite so bad. But we want this to come up to a rolling boil. And after that point, it'll take it about 20 minutes to get to where we want it to be. But you can see the texture of that. Hopefully, it's got a few chunks of strawberries in it. No giant chunks, except for maybe here and there. It's mostly a nice strawberry puree. I actually chopped that one a little bit finer than I did last time, which is totally fine.
Alright, so off camera, me and Jacob got the wheel foot back on. I bled the rear brakes, just trying to figure out exactly why it don't have brakes. Everything to me appears to be intact, working like it's supposed to. So I have accomplished something today though. I got this brake caliper up here fixed, and I got the squeaking noise. At least I think I got it fixed. We got to take it for a test drive, but I about guarantee that the squeaking is fixed. We'll find that out here shortly because of that hub that was stuck. But anyways, still have no brakes on the truck though. Like, they're there. You have to go all the way to the floor with them though before they work. I mean, they'll stop you, but it's not right. Something's not right. And if y'all can remember, when we brought this truck home, Meagan said that was the problem. Her daddy never could get brakes on it. So, what I've come to the conclusion, and I'm going to do a little bit of research to make sure there's nothing special hidden on one of these Toyotas that would cause me to not have brakes. But what I've come to the conclusion about is I believe the master cylinder he put on here is bad. Which is that piece right there. He replaced this. And the only reason I know he replaced it is because I can tell it's been replaced. And there was one laying in the floorboard of the truck, so I assume that's the one he pulled off of it. That's the only thing I can determine is when he replaced the master cylinder, the one he put on it was bad too. And that is a very, very real possibility these days, especially with aftermarket car parts. So, unless I can figure out something, in my research, I'm going for a master cylinder. I'm going to buy another master cylinder, I think, and stick on this thing. I'm not going to do that today because I'm starting to run out of time. There's no pedal. You push and push and push. And, I mean, you can pump up the brakes and they'll tend to work a little bit better, but the pedal just travels to the floor. So that's the only thing I know to do next.
All right, and here we are. Our time's gonna start now because we are at a rolling boil that don't stop when I stir it. So we're gonna let this go about 20 minutes. Make sure when you're doing this that you've got it in a deep enough pot that it can about double in size, because once it really starts boiling, especially at first, all those bubbles are gonna really rise up. So give yourself plenty of room. Don't be filling it up to the top with your strawberry juice / sugar. So now we will stand here and I'll pretty much slowly stir it as it cooks down. You can leave it for a minute or two, you know, it ain't gonna hurt nothing, but I wouldn't leave it long because it'll go to try to scorch or stick to the bottom, and I just want to kind of keep it stirred until we get jam. Alright guys, we're getting close to the end. Can you see how that's really changed? We're going to give it just a slight little of vinegar, just a slight little splash. That should be lemon juice. I never have lemon juice. That's just going to add some acid for us. It's also going to help our fruit keep its color. But you can see how that is looking. It looks thick. The bubbles, you can tell that the liquid is thick by the bubbles. And I like to fill my jelly just to the very tippy top, as far up as I can get it. I try to leave as little air in them jars as possible. Just in my experience, that seems to help them keep better for some reason, but it does. Ooh, we may only get 2 jars out of those. 2 jars. I don't believe I got enough left to fill up another one. Now you just can't beat that with a stick. It's just as easy as that. That's one thing I love about this recipe, is you don't have to have a specific amount of strawberries. You can do it with as little or as many as you want. See what we got here. This will just be some for us to enjoy on a piece of toast. It'll go straight on in the refrigerator after it cools off. I don't believe it's enough to fill my jar up. There we go. Little taste test before I stick this in the sink. It's so good you don't hardly have to have anything to put it on. That strawberry jam with the homemade butter on a hot biscuit, I'm just gonna tell y'all, that's about the best you can get. That is about the best you can get right there. Goodness gracious. So do yourself a favor, if you are going to make some jam, make sure you go ahead and wash your pots and stuff. This is one of those things you do not want to leave this sitting here, because the longer it sits here, the harder it's going to get to wash. It'll set up, I mean, just rock hard like candy on the edges of this pot and stuff. So I'm going to get all this stuff washed up, and then we'll make our butter, and, well, that'll probably call it a day for this video. Last thing on the list, it's time to get our butter made. So y'all saw me make butter a million times in the past, most of you anyway, but if you hadn't seen how I make it, I do use my food processor. I don't have like a one of those KitchenAid mixers. You know, I have a very small kitchen and I use my space wisely, and I just can't justify taking up space with one of those just yet. Squirrel. Anyways, I use my Ninja food processor. It works excellent for making butter. I have no complaints at all with this. This has been sitting out all day, so I'm just going to pour it straight in there. I only want to fill it about half full, maybe a hair over half full, because once it starts mixing it, you know, where it slings it around, it starts rising up and it'll just start coming out the top. It has happened to me. Yep, I had to learn the hard way. So, let me get this cream poured in here. There we go. And so 1 quart is usually perfect for, 1 quart of cream is perfect for this food processor. It's a 9-cup food processor. Y'all just check this out, how quick we're gonna have butter here. And 1 round did it. If this had been super cold, it probably would have took us 2 or 3 or 4 rounds on the puree function on this. I don't know how long that is. It's probably gotta be like 60 or 90 seconds, I would guess. So, then the next thing I do, I have got a bowl of ice water here. So, because this is like room temperature, this butter is super melty. And I don't know, I just find it easier for me if I cool it off for a little bit before I wash it under the sink. We can put our buttermilk in a separate container to either cook with or feed it to something. Either one. When you make as much butter as I do, it's hard to use up every ounce of buttermilk that you get. After it has set for a little bit and kind of stiffened up a little bit, is we need to wash it under some cold water. And it's good to do it under running water so it washes that milk away from your butter as you're working it like this. You can see it's still pretty soft, trying to stick to me. We're going to take our salt. I always do salted butter. Put a little salt in it. Knead that around. That salt will also help draw out some of that milk. And that's all we're doing right now, trying to get most of the milk out. You're probably not going to get it all out, but your butter will keep better if you can at least get most of it out. And I like to give it a good squeeze. And I just kind of shape it. I've got a butter mold, an antique butter mold. I just like to kind of keep it as a display, and I just mold it like this. It fits better in my freezer with these flat, long rectangles. Anyway, I can kind of stack them in the bags. So then we'll just do that all over again with the next batch of butter, and I should have 2 nice cakes of butter here. Well, y'all, I guess that's going to about wrap up today's video. We sure appreciate you spending a little time with us. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you might have learned a little something. Till we see y'all in the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.